This is the Layover Podcast, where your hosts Tracy Davis and Patrick Trevino share the unfiltered, behind-the-scenes stories of entrepreneurship. So sit back, grab a drink, and enjoy your flight. This is the Layover Podcast.
I can't accept the loss, I'm hard-headed. There's a little bit of madness to my method. Many falling off that fine line that I'm treading. I risk anything to be great, and I'm not letting nobody.
And we are back in action.
I know, it feels good. We haven't done one in a while because we've been so damn busy running everywhere.
Dude, keeping your head above water, it's been tough. And I've been battling a cough for now going on 3 weeks. I don't know what I picked up.
About 2 weeks ago, I remember you were like, hey, I don't know if I'm going to be able to record. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you said it, but I was thinking it. But I know you got a lot of editing done.
Yeah,
during that period. So it actually kind of worked out.
It did work out because we had so many guests and so many podcasts that we've pre-recorded, which is smart. And now we're batching another round, which is exciting. But yeah, my voice was completely gone. So finally I have it back, but I'm still coughing. I don't know what is going around. I think it's the whole world because the whole world has this cough.
I wouldn't get that dramatic, but I would say... I think it's like allergies. I know that in Georgia it's been warmer than usual, so I just saw that pollen's coming back already. No. And then the fluctuation of weather, traveling from one temperature to another, and I'm sure
it knocked me off knocked me on my ass. So
the good thing about it.
I didn't
get yelled at for about a week and a half at work. That was the good thing about it.
Congratulations.
I got some long-ass emails.
You did not piss me off for 2 weeks.
Well, no, I did piss you off. I just didn't get the repercussions of pissing you off.
That's
fair.
So
I'm glad you're feeling better.
Yeah, I feel much better. So I'm able to go back to work inside the office, which is great because I know the first time I think I accidentally got Jen sick.
Yeah, I think you might have got someone sick.
Sorry, Jen.
But you know what's crazy is that... And one of the, I think I was at a presentation with you, but it wasn't a sales presentation. It was like a presentation about, I don't know, we could have been talking to someone on a virtual work call. Mm-hmm. And you say, hey guys, forgive me. And you have your camera on, so you're like, forgive me, my voice is a little raspy. I'm sounding a little bit like Kermit the Frog. And I don't know if you realize it, but I shut my camera off because I almost spit my water out. And I was like, I can't believe she just said that. And they were like, no, it's okay. And I was like, no.
I didn't realize I said that. I was also on a lot of Dayquil for about 2 weeks.
Can I confess to something?
Yes.
Usually when me and you do those type of meetings, we bounce off each other.
Right.
There was no bouncing. I was just letting you wing it. And then I felt bad. I was like, I should jump in right now.
You're evil.
Like, I could hear your voice, like the decibels just dropping.
After those meetings, they would just disappear. Like I couldn't talk
and I was like, shit, I should probably jump in right now.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. Nice.
But I let it ride for like an extra couple of minutes.
You're
and then
so
I was like,
nice.
All right, I'll jump in.
Bullshit.
As I say that, I'm drinking water now. I'm losing my voice.
Yeah, you're gonna karma's a bitch. I'm just gonna say that. Well, how have you been?
I've been good. I have actually I've traveled a little bit, not too much. I just got back from a trip to OKC. Shout out to OKC.
OKC Thunder.
Yeah, that's right. Really cool. I got to meet some of their organization. And man, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna give them a shout out because it's well deserved. Everyone knows that previously to this, I was in the IFM janitorial world, and I can safely tell you that that has to be one of the cleanest facilities I've ever been into.
I don't think I've ever been to that arena. We saw OKC Thunder play the Spurs when we went to the Spurs game, right?
Yes, that was at the San Antonio.
Yeah, okay.
But I will tell you that as soon as I walked in, I wasn't even there for 4 seconds. I literally walked in, and the first thing I said was, holy cow, your floors are shiny.
Once you're in the janitorial world, you can't shake it.
It was I was like, oh, it was as shiny as the NBA court.
Really?
Like, on the concourse. It was wild.
I wish our airports looked like that.
Yeah, well, some of them do, some of them don't. But janitorial's not important. So.
That's fair. Well, I know. I'm glad you're back. I'm heading out today to California to the happiest place on
that's
Earth.
right.
Got a few exciting meetings. Yeah, so gonna be heading out. It's one of those things where you're like on a 5-hour flight for a 2-hour meeting, and then you jump back on another 5-hour flight. So not the funnest, exciting trip in the world, but the meeting will be great. The meeting is exciting.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a long ass way to go for one day, but hey.
Yeah, but hey, theme parks, guys, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm calling that market mine. I want all the theme parks.
Yeah, you get all the fun ones.
Mine.
Yeah. Hey, can you help me with this design?
You get the sports arenas. I call it theme parks.
Yeah. You're like, hey, can you help me? I'm like, hey, I need help with this airport in the middle of nowhere in northern Canada. You're like, nah, you're on your own.
No, I'm busy. I'm busy.
No, it's been good. It's been good. It's been the thing about when you get this busy, and we were discussing this actually at the Upwards event.
Yeah.
I actually spoke with. I'm happy to say that I was not the only male there. So
you're one of three.
One of three.
Yes.
The other gentleman I didn't get a chance to talk to.
I think he worked there.
Yeah, but man, I've never been so happy to see Frank. I was like, hey man, what's up, dude?
It was fun. I thought the event turned out really well.
It was amazing.
So
honestly, I'm not just saying this because you were moderating, which by the way, you did an amazing job moderating.
I didn't have a voice.
I had people texting me. And they were like, she's doing a great job. And I was like, who is this? Because, I don't save.
You never save numbers.
There was one person I did have her number saved.
That's funny.
But
I was
two other people texted me. And I was like,
oh,
who is
that's
texting?
sweet.
And I'm like, I'm not her agent.
You have to.
I'm like, that's great. She's doing good.
Call my manager.
Yeah, but you did an amazing job moderating. The panel was absolutely
great.
Top notch.
Yeah.
And what I liked about the panel was that everyone had a different perspective of what was going on.
Yeah, we tried to mix it up a bit. And for those of you who weren't able to come, what we're talking about is the first Mind and Social event that we were able to co-host with Upward. Yeah, so it was amazing. But it was a woman panel for business directors, business owners, recruiters, people who are just founders and solo entrepreneurs. But the goal was to show and help women understand what it's like when they're going through that transition of finding a new job or entering back in the workforce if they've taken some time off for motherhood, and just getting some of that encouragement, inspiration in the room. And I had some people walk up to me in tears, and I was putting me in tears because it was the message they needed to hear. But I think everyone, when you get a lot of powerhouse women in a room, you can't beat that energy, dude.
I'm going to be honest with you. I was like, wow. I was like,
you're like, there are so many women here.
I was like, well, one, I was the only guy there. So, other than Frank and the other gentleman, but the energy in that room was just very supportive.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you go to these events and it's just one person trying to one up and trying to make themselves and promote themselves. This one was more about really engaging with the audience. The audience was engaged. I did see the interactions going back and forth. Apparently people thought I was your manager. And I was like, they're like, oh, is she available? I was like, I don't know. You go ask her.
But it was cool. Thank you for supporting, because it was our first Mind and Social event. It made me so happy.
I'm so happy. Thank you for taking lead on that, because I know that takes a lot of work.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we did a lot of evening meetings to get that off the ground, but it was so worth it, and I'm looking forward to more. It got me that that energy you get when you get a successful
this is where the yin and yang.
Okay, yeah. Right? Well, I get a boost of energy when I finally this has been on my bucket list to throw Mind and Social events, and to finally check that off. I get inspired to get more and do more.
And we're excited too, because I think we've been talking about it for a while. It's just been really busy with everything else we're doing, but we're this summer we're gonna do the launch of Mind and Social.
Absolutely, the event launch. Yeah.
I'm in charge of just entertainment.
Wow.
And alcohol.
Well, really setting the bar high for you, huh? All right, that's great.
No, that's a joke. Obviously, we know, but I'm very proud of you. I think what you did was really cool. Very brave. I don't know if that's the first time you've moderated.
Yeah, that was my first moderating. I've been on panels before, but thank you.
That.
It's actually, I enjoy it because it's fun. It's you have to play ping pong a little bit.
It must be easy for you because that's what you love.
Yeah,
it's a passion of yours. So
I
it must
enjoy
be
it.
easier. It's not like you're moderating about what is it? Biometrics in aviation. It's been the
favorite
same fucking panel for
common use.
Common use shit. It's been the same thing for fucking 15 years.
Yeah, no, it's very different, and it was very inspirational, and there was just so many amazing women in that room. So I learned a lot. So I'm glad. Thanks for coming out.
But one of the things that stood out in that event and that we're going through today is, as you know, being founders, entrepreneurs, it doesn't really matter. Any role you play within an organization, oftentimes you're very busy.
Yeah.
And a lot's expected of you.
Yep.
And with that being said, you can lose your routines.
Yeah.
And you can literally become swallowed up in what you're doing and forget about the most important thing, which is you. Mm-hmm. So I know that you have a pretty rigorous set routine. Sometimes I'm sure sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I have a routine. It's called Straight Chaos.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've never seen you in a routine.
I do have a routine. I really do. I do have a routine. it's just, I don't know if I could call it a routine, right? Because when you go to the gym, you have a routine,
right?
And you go 3-4 days. I'm even struggling on that one, right?
Sure, it's hard.
But I do have certain things that I do in the morning to help me set the tone for the day, and then certain things in the evening that help me somewhat set the tone for the next day.
Well, that's what one of the women said.
And it's not bourbon.
Yep. Good. Congrats. Proud of you.
Yes.
But that's what one of the women said on the panel. She said that, you talk about a morning routine, but then it's actually equally as important to have an evening routine to close out the day, especially as an entrepreneur when sometimes your brain doesn't ever stop with what you're doing. And, I'm sure your brain is busier than mine, but I'll wake up at 3 a.m. and have an idea, or something popped in where I forgot to do. But closing your day out and having that routine kind of gives you a little structure when we're kind of in a structureless environment right now with people not in the office all the time. How do you, hold yourself accountable when nobody's watching, right? Yeah. And whether you're an employee or an employer, you equally have to be held accountable, right?
So if you don't mind me asking, what is your current routine, right, that you try to implement every day? And then what is something that you would want to do more of? Yeah. Rather that be beginning or evening?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'm a big firm believer in meditation. That meditation's changed my entire life. And I've actually been bad about this past week or so. And I think being sick and just not having the energy has not been fun. But meditation's a non-negotiable for me. So I wake up in the morning and my routine is obviously kind of wake up, brush my teeth. I like some fresh breath, right? I don't want to go around with morning breath all day.
Good start to your day. Meditating.
But I'll go get my coffee and then I get back into bed or I get in my chair and I will meditate for, sometimes 15, even 20 minutes sometimes. And it sets me up for just such a clear head and just feeling energetic internally. I know you're not a big meditator. I wish if that was one thing I could force upon you, I wish
you have tried to push it on me. I mean, you were pretty much...
I'm going to start to use violence.
You were aggressively... you say that as I was about to finish my sentence. You aggressively have passive aggressively done it, sending me random videos on YouTube and random things and, hey, check out this app. Yes. And I was like, okay. And then I think you got me a gift once that was that half moon that plays sounds and
the hatch.
Hatch. Yeah. And
which if you don't have a hatch, it's a game changer for waking up in the morning. Because it's it's a light alarm clock, but you can play sounds, but it'll turn on as a sunset or sunrise in the morning, so you would wake up peacefully.
Yeah. And I will say this video is not sponsored by Hatch, but if Hatch wants to sponsor us, I think you own 2. I think I own 2 of them as well.
I'm obsessed with them.
The funny part is when you got me the hatch, sorry, not sidetracking, but when you got me the hatch, I thought you just meant you wanted me to get to work early. So I didn't realize that it was the meditation side of it. I was like, oh, she just wants me to wake up early.
I want you to slow down a little bit.
Yeah. But then did I tell you this setting? I didn't realize the setting, how it slowly brings the sunrise. Yeah. But I went from dark to 100 brightness.
God, no wonder you're so stressed out all the time.
But anyways, so back to your routine.
Yeah, so meditation is so key. And then I have my coffee. I have to start morning slow. So I know that there's this concept of especially as a business owner, you're supposed to just jump out of bed and go.
Right.
I don't function that way. And I've lived my life like that periodically where I'm jump out of bed. I don't even take time to just set. I'm just out the door. Yep. And I got so badly burned out those years that I did that because my body, my brain needs a minute to just recalibrate. And if I don't take that time, I don't know. I'm a completely different person. So it's been a game changer for me. So I can actually
it's been a game changer for people who surround themselves around me. Wow. I get, unlike other people, I get both sides.
That's
I'm
true.
Oh shit, she did not meditate today.
Yeah, I think last week you saw the week that I did
I look at my list of things to talk about. I'm not going to talk about those things. She didn't meditate. Let's just talk about these things.
And then evening routines. That's one thing I wish I did more of, is to close out the evening more. I think I'm stuffy. Sorry. I think I still am answering emails or watching TV or doing something just to turn my brain off, and I'm not actually spending that time to close out the day. So I wish I did more of that, which maybe I'll start next week. What about you? You said it's just straight chaos. Do you just jump out of bed and then
Well, my whole life is fucking chaos, but...
Okay, this is not a therapy session,
That's a joke too. My humor is way off this week. I must be the pollen.
Yeah, right. The pollen. You're getting sick too.
I'll answer your question, but I do want to just... At the end of the show, I do want to talk about one thing that you just brought up was the emailing in the evenings and kind of creating routine, right? And even like corporate routine as well. So remind me about that. I will remind you. But for me, I have a routine. I like to pretend I don't, but I do. And it's not like take a shower, brush your teeth. I mean, that's just be a part. That's a human being. It's like the people that are like hashtag took my kid to school. I was like, you're supposed to take your kid to school. What do you want, a fucking parent of the year trophy? You're supposed to take your kid to school. And so for me, it honestly is I don't check emails, nor do I open my phone until I am fully That's good. Done. So what I do is I have my screen display my text messages. I know people are, I don't know, live secret lives or something and don't want to do that. I have nothing to hide. So I usually display, and I always immediately I'll see if any of my kids have texted me overnight. If I have any missed calls that were like family related or something like that, just to make sure that everything that I know and that I love is safe. And then after that, I really don't give a shit. Yeah. I literally get up, I make a cup of coffee. I do this very awkward thing. I pound water.
Pound water.
Yes.
Okay.
Like chug water. Not even like savory, like almost drowning myself. And I usually do that like 12 to 16 ounces.
Yeah,
like
that's so good.
Pounding it down, right?
You dehydrate, dude.
Yeah. And so I've come to realize when I do that, and then I take a shower, and then I go through my normal routine, and then I have coffee. I actually don't have as much coffee as I normally would.
Interesting.
I feel like my body comes to life naturally with the water coming in and all the toxins. And
so much better for you.
Which is probably the only healthy thing I do in a day. But
well, I mean, not opening your phone. I know that's like a key.
Yeah. And I think I've told you that before.
Yeah,
you don't do that because if something did occur during a period of time, that would then it would ruin your routine.
Yeah.
But two, it takes over how your day is gonna go. It's almost
it sets the tone
for it. So for me, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do my routine. I
struggle with that because like I want to know, like similar, like you're like I want to check on my kids. My baby is the business, so I have like this weird mindset where like I need to know if the baby is like alive or not. Dog. Yeah,
you gotta get another dog. I mean, I get what you're saying. And it's true. I mean, again. I'll speak for myself. Yeah. It doesn't work for everyone, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure if you...
I mean, it would be better if I didn't check.
I mean, if you're running... The way I view it, and this is a shout out to you, the way our organization and also our other businesses ran, it kind of runs, I don't want to say itself.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
But we have such a solid, structured team that they're able to make decisions and start putting fires out if there are even fires,
right? And
those type of things before you even get involved.
It's true. Yeah, it's been a different.
If you have to get up and literally go into that panic mode, you should probably do either self-reflection yourself and then self-reflection of where your company is, right? Like, but I do agree. I do like that for myself. It doesn't. I mean, sometimes it's bad. Sometimes I've even shut off. Just recently, I turned it on, but I used to shut off my Outlook notifications that pop up on my screen. Yeah. One, I hate when I'm on a walk listening to music and it's like just ding, pops. Ding, ding. It just drives me bonkers.
I had to turn off the sound.
But I honestly think that as long as you first ground yourself and then step into the outside world, don't let outside influence your day, right?
I think it's a game changer.
Even like the news. I don't watch any of that shit in the morning. Dude. I know people get up in the morning, boom, the news. I get up in the morning and I put on the Weather Channel. The Weather Channel. Like I really do. I think you think it's weird, but
I do think it's weird.
But I'll put on the Weather Channel, and then from there I'll put on. I'm into sports, so I'll then put in sports. But I don't turn on the news. I don't do any of that shit because everything on the news is depressing. Yeah, and I'm like, I don't want to set the tone of today's day. It's true. The other day I went against my way and I turned on the news, and it was like, bomb goes off. I'm like, well, that's fucking great. Like, good morning, Patrick. This is what today's.
And now this day and age, every new day is a new.
I don't do any of that stuff. I don't check the news. I don't do any of that stuff in the beginning of the day. Yeah. On my lunch break or something, I may like skim through the news and see what's going on, and because by then I've already gone through my day, right? The majority of my stuff.
And whether you're in a good mood or not, it's already defined.
Usually always in a bad mood anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I use that structure. But one thing in the evening, I don't have any structure. I try to create chaos. I do tend to work in the evening.
We know.
I have a routine though. Like I do like I have a certain time I FaceTime my kids. I don't care religiously. It will be within this time period. I'll do those type of things. I try to reconnect, connect with my mom, connect with my brothers, or connect whoever I need to connect to. in the evening. I always joke with everyone knows not to call me between like 11 in the morning and 2 because I probably would never pick up the phone.
You never answer.
Just because I'm really head down doing what I have to do. But other than that, yeah, I don't really. I should have one.
You should, because I mean, I know you, and I've known you for 6-7 years, and you have a very busy brain.
I do. Fucking Pisces,
very,
man. Like,
dude. And I've been teaching you what that means now.
Yeah.
Pisces. You got a lot going on up there.
I was always wondering why I cried during Star Wars and shit. And then after you read me and my Pisces like super sensitive, I was like, well, that explains it.
I'm still sitting on a lot more I have to teach you. I'm just like, I'm giving it to you in little mini doses so I don't overwhelm you.
Yeah, I remember when we went to the Arsenal game. Yep. You're like, yeah. And you turn around and I had shades on. And you're like, oh, shit, he's crying.
He's crying. Poor guy. No, you feel deeply. But you got a busy brain. And being able to find that boundary so that you aren't. Like, for me, I can feel myself if I'm answering emails or working at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, going to bed is hard for me that night. Like, I have to take a CBD or something. So it's a little bit different. I know you work around the clock too.
Yeah, we're not talking about the substance.
But the substance.
Just bypass right through that one.
What substance do you take back?
HOV lane, right through. We're not even going to go through that.
Well, so one thing I wanted to ask you, because I've gone through waves of this where, I mean, you think about pre-COVID, we were in the office every day, right? Wow, I just stuttered. 8 a.m. to 5 or later. And there was just, you had a routine. So you knew, like, you woke up, you got ready for work, you put on a suit back in the day.
Oh, God, I missed that.
If you remember those days.
Oh, I missed that. Maybe even a tie.
Right? God. If you wanted to spice it up, a tie, right? A bow tie.
The other day I tied some ties just because I forgot how to tie.
That just is so depressing.
Yeah, because we don't wear ties anymore.
It's true. Yeah. Or a little pocket.
I was wearing gym shorts and a Windsor knot. Like a thing.
But you had a routine, right? Yeah. And like getting ready for work, and then you got there, and then you had a lunch. But there was just structure to the day. A lot of structure. And then when COVID happened, that obviously went out the window. Yeah. And then you had to kind of create your own structure. Yeah. And
20-hour work weeks.
Yeah, right. Dun dun dun. But now we're in a hybrid mode. We go in the office a few days a week, back and forth. But how do you find that structure? And maybe you don't struggle with this, but if nobody's watching you, do you have moments where you're like, I really just don't want to do the thing? You're not going to admit this to me now. I know you're not.
No, I have a right answer because I know you're always fucking watching. So like, I don't really have the option.
All right, you know what I mean. Yeah. All right, but
other people.
Okay, let's talk about other people. Yeah. How do you create a structure in like a structureless environment? You have to hold yourself accountable. And people think, as entrepreneurs, you're like, yeah, I don't have a boss. That's what I want to do. But that's actually almost harder at times.
It is harder.
Because you are your own boss. But that means like if you don't show up for that day, you have to look at yourself in the mirror.
It is harder. 1,000%. I will tell you. So my previous role, when I worked at JCM, Mike Conlon, I remember I used to call him after like 2 weeks of not hearing from him. And he was in New York, and the headquarters was in New York, and I lived in New Hampshire. I'm like, hey, Mike. Just here. I'm alive.
Hi.
And business is running great in New England. Like, I started to learn. Well, I knew because he trusted me, and I know that the New England team did an amazing job. So that's why he didn't have to worry about calling me. So it was kind of
maybe he just didn't want to talk to you, Pat.
In a sense, right? But then the other side of it was like, well, I'm lonely. Like,
I was gonna say you need people around you.
Yes, somebody talk to me.
Yeah,
I think that for me, I was also homeschooled.
So you're born this way.
Which is weird because I'm an extrovert. Yeah. Now, that doesn't say I didn't have friends at every damn high school.
Sure.
Where I'm from, right? I did. And I went to every prom, and I went to all this
little Pat in a prom outfit.
I had like 6 prom
dates. Like slay.
But I lost my train of thought.
The structure.
So I, at a young age, had to create structure. Yeah. Right? Because
you always had to hold yourself accountable.
Discipline to myself of my own education. And, my mom worked a lot. And so my upbringing, I don't want to go into all my details, but my upbringing allowed me to be responsible at a young age and understood that I needed to, nobody was going to do this shit for me. I had to do it myself. Yeah. And that's always been my mindset. And so a good example would be, from a work standpoint is, you're right. Not everyone's always watching, right? I could be sitting on a plane. I fly a lot for tracks, right? And so I could be sitting on a plane watching every damn movie Delta's playing, and you wouldn't even know, right? You know what you will realize, and how you will know is that you see productivity go down. You start to see things change, right? And I make that choice, right? And that's not something that the company's like, do this, do that, right? but I know my role within an organization, and I know what my role means within the organization, and I know what it means, what impact it has downstream if I'm not self-disciplined.
Yeah.
So if you need self-discipline and you work in an organization that's a small business, or just any, small teams within a larger organization as well, right? And people are dependent of you. If that itself is not enough motivation for you to move forward, then you're not a team player.
Yeah.
Right? It's like a football team, right? The Super Bowl's on today.
Mm-hmm.
Like the linemen work just as hard as the wide receivers, as the wide receivers work just as hard as the quarterback, and vice versa. If one of those guys like, I finished my gym, I'm out, I'm going leaving.
Peace.
I'm gonna go. No, that doesn't happen. That just doesn't happen because everything has to be one-on-one machine. So for me, motivation is just been the way I've been brought up.
You're lucky in a sense. Because a lot of people struggled with like going to remote work, especially the extroverts. Shout out to you folks, which I don't understand any of you, but so I'm an introvert. I know you don't believe me when I say that, but
no, you're not an introvert. For the record.
But a lot of people did struggle because they're like, okay, well, if I don't have meetings to go to, like, you have to be in front of your computer. You've got to be working, but no one's, your boss isn't around the corner staring at your computer, and you don't have teammates around you to like watch what you're doing. Yeah. You've got to hold yourself accountable, and a lot of people struggle with that. But
can we just jump into like why we think that's a root cause, or what is your theory? I have a big theory.
Oh, please just go on. Tell me your big theory.
I just think my big theory about it is just today's world of like how people try to be so efficient, and they think efficiency leads to. I'm trying to tread lightly here, but efficiencies lead to more free time. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's the case. I think efficiency should lead to more productivity.
Yeah.
I think that if you're able to do your job in 24 hours out of the 40 that you get paid, but then you have another teammate that possibly has more on their plate, I think that a good partner and a good teammate should help out the other partner.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, how shitty would it be if your sales team is golfing at 1 p.m. because they closed a couple of deals and the rest of your company is struggling. Mm-hmm. I mean, that does happen.
It does. Absolutely.
You see shit in big pharma and software.
Well, everybody has a different mindset to work, right?
So for me, I'm like, nah, man, we're a team. If this person's struggling, for me, that's my own wish. I also think it's the way you brought up. Mm-hmm. I think it has a big, big part to it. Yeah. I think that, if shit's always handed to you and this is just my own belief, so whatever. People can chop me up like liver or whatever. For me, I believe that. Like, when you have a lot of responsibilities on your shoulders, you rely on a lot of people. One person can't do everything. So I always tell people, and I always crack the joke, but I'm not joking, when I say, hey, I did my part of my job. Mm-hmm. What if the last thing I had to do, I could just wait till next week, and the last thing I had to do next week was process payroll? Mm-hmm. Immediately everyone pays attention.
Oh, of course. Absolutely.
Right? So I have to spend my Saturday processing payroll so that you can get paid. Mm-hmm. But when I need you to close a deal, and you don't want to work the weekend and do it, you're going to wait till Monday. So I'll wait till Monday to process payroll.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. It doesn't.
I know, but there's
expectations on what, just because you're a founder or CEO, people don't realize that those are the things that weigh you on your shoulders. Mm-hmm. And so I think that, for me, my theory has always been just those things.
Well, do you think that discipline or self-discipline can be taught? I mean, if someone wasn't raised that way,
if you got a good mentor, yeah. I mean, if you have a good mentor and someone shows you the right path in business, then yes. Yeah. But you could quickly, be diverted the other way. I mean, social media doesn't help the scenario, right? We see videos all the time, right?
Of what?
Just, Instagram videos and reels on TikTok or X or everything of just in general of content of, going out and I worked X, Y, and Z, don't work harder. I make millions as an influencer. Yeah. All those things. What's funny is that those influencers work fucking hard.
Yeah, they do. They absolutely do.
Filming 10 hours of content to create a 1 hour snippet.
So exhausting.
They don't tell you that part. Yeah. They're just trying to tell you the glamorous life that they live in some fake ass Airbnb and pretend it's their condo in Miami and they're gonna film content. That's the real world, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Or it's I think I sent you the article of the 5 bros in Miami that all own a G-Wagon and a Lamborghini.
Oh, that's right.
And then they all split the payments 5 ways and they all get it once a week. And like, what the hell?
Yeah, what you see online is not always the truth.
I don't know how I went on that rant, but what I was going to say is that shit brainwashes people.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you have to be self-disciplined internally you've got to work hard at that. But I think creating a structure in my day helps me create that discipline. So like if I have my morning blocked off in morning routine, I like to schedule out blocks of like, okay, these are email times, these are content times, these are whatever, quote, sales. And then when you give yourself kind of these blocks throughout your day, you give yourself that structure outside of your meetings and scheduled. You're like, okay, I have 2 hours of open time. If you don't already ahead of time know what you're going to do to fill into that hour or whatever it is, then I think a lot of people can struggle and, losing their focus.
Yeah, I used to have, before we had our EA, my calendar wasn't, it was just a nightmare. Open playground, right? And I would have 3 hours on Monday morning or Tuesday morning, I would have 3 hours. And in my head, I was like, those 3 hours, I'm going to focus on administrative work, paperwork, things I got to do. And then all of a sudden I get a ping. And I now have 2 more meetings.
Right.
That were added into my calendar internally because people are like, oh, you were free. Well, no. I was free from meetings.
Yeah.
I still got other stuff I got to do.
Yeah, you got to work.
So I've learned actually practicing with you and in our EA is restructuring things, right? So now I only allow myself, this is my own routine for work now. I've only allowed myself 3.5 hours for meetings.
Good. You should put blocks around
3.5 hours to 4 hours of meeting. I have my lunch, right? Which is, I like to step away or do whatever I need to do during my lunch. And that's about an hour, right? So I got
It better be.
That's funny. Like I said, you're always watching. So let's just say it's 3.5 hours, and then I do an hour of my lunch. That's 4.5 hours. That leaves me 3.5 hours to do other stuff. Like I got to get proposals out, approve people's proposals, read things. If I'm working on a strategy, a marketing project, a presentation, it allows me to catch up on that because that leads me to the next thing I wanted to ask you. Because you're I don't want to say you're the victim, but you are the victim, of what our team likes to call Pat's wave. And that's when I am reaching out, catching up, doing emails and things of that nature. Now, one thing for me that working remote has sucked is that I do manage a lot of departments.
Right.
I think 6 or 7 in total. And they all have their own things going on. And I have a bull in a china shop communication skills internally.
That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah, right? I've been practicing. My therapist told me that. And what I've learned is that by not being in the office leads to
more emails,
which leads to more stress.
Yep.
Because you've been on that side. And I work late.
Yeah.
And I do work late. And so my question to you is, how do you feel and do you think it's right that people take time off throughout the day because they're remote working, right? Hey, I had 2-hour day, 2-hour break at 11 in the morning because I had a doctor's appointment. I had X, Y, and Z. And God forbid they put it on their calendar, but we never see that. Those type of things. So now they're going to bombard you at 7:30 at night till 9:30 at night at emails. How do you feel? Do you think that's fair for the employee or person who worked their 8 to 4, 9 to 5 during whatever office hours you have now to get bombarded with emails later because the other person didn't work the same hourly corporate structure that's put in place of operation?
I mean, fair is a strong word because I don't necessarily think it's fair or unfair. I think because of the way that things are with hybrid, I think it's the nature of the beast because some people do shut down at 5 o'clock and they're like, we're not working past that. And some people are more fluid throughout their day. But I think it kind of goes back on the person who's receiving the emails. I think you can create your own boundaries. So I think if you are, you like to work late because that's when your brain turns on and you're catching up and whatever it is, you can obviously schedule out emails to be sent the next day, and maybe that's the nicer thing to do. But the person on the other end, if they have a structure where they're like, I don't want to see emails or work past 6 or whatever it is, and they can turn those off too. So I don't know, because maybe it's because I'm wired because I never shut down either. And that's not healthy either. I mean, a lot of people do like to have their 8 to 5 closed down, then they've got family time and they're non-negotiables,
well,
right?
Something simple as this, and I already know this is going to happen, so I'm stating it now. In the next episode, I will verify this, but you're flying to Cali and you fly back, and I think you fly back on a PM shift. And so you're flying West Coast back to East Coast, which
Yeah.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
Right around 8 o'clock at night, East Coast time, my emails are going to start to get more and more of you coming through. But again, this is why I don't think that when I say that I'm referencing to not like black and white right on it, because you have people in organizations that do travel. Right. And so what will happen, an example I'll use just because I see your schedule and I know your day, is that you're going to travel tonight. You're going to do your meetings all day. You're going to get back on a plane, and then you're going to fly here. So you technically lost an entire day of what you would do. Now, I hate to use the word lost because that's not what I mean, but you have a lot of things I know you get backed up on now. So you catch up on the plane. So for me, those things are okay because, you're contributing during these times. You could easily go to bed on the plane and sleep the whole way here. You did your day already. And then on people on the East Coast, here comes Tracy's wave, right? Of emails coming through. We'll get to it tomorrow. But I do agree with you. It's about setting those boundaries. Because on Tuesday morning, if you don't send the emails Monday evening, Tuesday morning, your day's already booked, right? From the rest of the stuff you have to do. So I do think there's that boundary part. And that is something that, I even have to do, right? Putting up boundaries. Like I'm not checking my emails. I'm not doing this. I think me and you recently were just at a dinner, and I was like looking at my emails, and you're like, put away your phone. And, it's like I have to put those boundaries, right? To
absolutely. You have to be present.
Which goes to structure.
I mean, you have to, but that's your own self-discipline, right? And I think after COVID, and then now with hybrid or fully remote, however people are, I mean, you had to learn a lot about yourself and how you are. Like, are you just showing up at work to be busy, or are you actually productive, with what you're doing? I mean, those are two very drastically different things. And so you kind of learn. I also learned personally a lot about myself when, like, the times of day that I work better of certain things. Like, for example, I'm more creative at certain periods of the day. So I want those times so that I can do content or whatever it is. And then sometimes I'm ready for meetings. I'm ready to and I know even like our EA, I don't like to do 8 a.m. meetings. My brain is not, I mean, if I have to, it's not a big deal. Obviously it's required, but my brain doesn't willingly want to do a sales meeting at 8 because I need to warm up and get my brain going and all this stuff. I like to catch up, schedule out my day, use the hours of 8 to 9:30 of just digging in to see level setting on everything that I have to do. And then I like to have meetings past 9:30 because then my brain is up, I'm fired up, I'm ready to go. You're opposite. I know you just I don't know if you just jump out of bed with your phone glued to your face. I don't know what happens.
I just told you earlier I don't check my phone, but I do get up and immediately go into it.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, because I've seen where you have meetings. I mean, you start early too and you end late. And I don't know how you do it. I mean, props to you. Thank you for all that you do. But my brain doesn't work that early in the morning. You've got 7:30 meetings. And I'm like, no. I don't want to talk to anybody at 7:30.
Yeah, so I think we have flipped clocks, right? So for you, that earlier part of the day for you is kind of setting the foundation for yourself.
Yes,
getting
I have
grounded
to.
Which I do to an extent, but I do have 7 o'clock meetings, 7:30 meetings. But if you look at my calendar, and you'll notice a trend that there will be a period of time where there's not much because extroverts do get tired.
What? I don't believe it.
And I do get tired, and I rather do sales presentations, especially sales presentations. I find that I can connect more in a sales presentation in the morning. And this is just my own belief. I've had more successful closes when I present in the morning. Because the other person who's on the other side, who is the potential buyer, has not had their day take off either.
Right.
So they're not distracted. They're focusing.
That's true. It's a good point.
So that's why maybe I don't do it at the ass crack of dawn, right?
Yeah, God, no.
But
10 a.m. is my golden slot for meetings.
Yeah, 10 a.m. I already done 3-4 meetings.
Yeah, 10. Well, I mean, for a sales meeting, 10 a.m. is when I'm the 10 and 11 o'clock slot for sales meetings for me. That's when I'm on fire. That's when I'm just spitting game.
That's because and that's how you that's how you and you're in the way you are.
Yeah,
is that's where your energy is now.
Yeah, I'm hyper focused.
Whereas mine, I'm very hyper focused in the morning. Yeah, and then closer towards the afternoon, I'm I'll do internal ones,
right?
But I try not to have to do external ones, and I can see my performance. I can even see, I could feel it. I could say, You know that feeling when you've had a kick-ass sales presentation.
I love that vibe.
And it just the high is just there. And then when you have a bad one and you're like,
yeah, those are fun.
Immediately the follow-up comes, right? Like you don't even wait.
Thank you for your
hours.
time today.
Immediately, like here's the presentation. This is what we talked about. Let's reschedule. Let's schedule another meeting.
Yeah.
No, for me, it's like it's that time. So, but everyone's different.
Yeah, everyone is different. Everyone has their own boundaries.
It also doesn't help we work with people in different time zones too.
That is true. Yeah, that is a struggle. And I know at least we're at this point where we're not like we're growing global, but like there's going to be periods here where we have people in offices in Latin America region or Central America in general.
Get your asses in the office.
Get your asses in the office. Well, I have left this by now officially wanting to do a nighttime routine. So I'll let you know how that goes. Are you going to change? What is one thing that you're going to improve after this podcast? Pressure's on.
I was not expecting a question. To be honest with you know what? I think for me, an evening routine that doesn't... That's a good question.
You're not going to change. You're stuck in your ways.
No. You always have to change. But well, I could tell you something I used to do and I don't do anymore. I'm a literal like passionate reader.
Yeah.
I love to read. And I find myself when I do read, like before I go to bed.
Yeah.
I sleep better.
Oh, who would have thought?
And wow. And I would have calmed down. I mean, until like maybe like 4 years ago, I didn't have a TV in my room.
Yeah. Well,
and I kind of wish I didn't have a TV in my room because
you're forced to read.
You start watching. You go down the van life YouTube portal. And, I feel like I connect with these people now. It's like my freaking soap operas. And I go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Well, especially me because you said I'm an overthinker.
You are an overthinker. You got to work on that. I recommend CBD and meditation.
Well, I tried meditation. You sent me all those things, and my problem is that I go from meditation to deep sleep.
Just sorry, on that note.
Yeah, that's why I'm too scared to go to public places. Because I remember one time you're like, well, you should go see like a meditation like specialist, right? They teach you how to meditate and how to breathe correctly. And I'm like, no.
You're gonna fall asleep in the class.
Yeah, I fell asleep during a massage once. Remember? I think I told you that story. The person was so damn good giving me a massage. I woke up and she was already like packing up the room.
That's
I was
embarrassing.
I was like, oh, that was great. Do you want me to roll over? She's like, roll over.
I'm leaving.
Like 10 minutes ago, bro. You got 5 more minutes and you got to get out of this room too.
I love it. Well, no, good. Well, so you're going to start to read. I'm holding you accountable.
Don't say that. I'm going to start to read.
I figured you didn't know how to read.
Yeah,
congratulations.
Hooked on phonics graduate over here.
Here you go.
You're
going to read daily. All right, give yourself a goal. Because I'm going to do nighttime routine now. I'm going to try
25 to 30 minutes of reading every day.
Every day. Okay.
And no
I'm checking back in with you, dude.
Business books like straight up real fiction.
I'm gonna check in with you. Yeah. I'm holding you accountable.
Yeah.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
If it's a smut book, I'll get an hour into it.
A smut book.
I'll do an hour if it's a smut book.
I love it.
Which is shit's booming in there.
I know.
Sense too. So I know you got to travel.
Yep, I've got to bust a move. Got to jump on that flight, and you got a lot of emails that I've got to send you. So.
Not tonight. I'm watching the Super Bowl tonight. Who are you going for? The
Super Bowl. Oh, none of them. Yeah. None of the teams. Yeah. I'm like I couldn't be less excited about a Super Bowl.
They show you the map that shows like the people who care about the Super Bowl, and it's like one little green dot over Philly. Not even all of Pennsylvania. That's the shitty part. Like literally one half is green, the other half is yellow because of the Steelers. And then it's just this one little section that just shows
Taylor Swift fans.
Taylor Swift. No, not even that. It just shows Kansas City and then more Taylor Swift. But the funny part is that Taylor Swift's not even performing. It's Kendrick Lamar.
Oh, that's right.
And nobody. I mean, I don't care for Kendrick Lamar. I mean,
I could vibe with some of his songs.
No, he has that. No,
his one popular one.
Yeah, and that's about. I mean,
that's it. That's the only one I know.
I'm boycotting the halftime show. It should be Lil Wayne and.
It should be. I agree with that.
Juvenile and 400
with
Degrees.
With Lil Wayne makes me break down into like 16-year-old Tracy comes out.
That's a whole nother episode. That is a whole nother episode.
I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole.
You'll be in the air, right? When the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I'll be in the air.
Yeah.
So I'm sure I'll have it on while I answer emails.
I'll be probably honestly I'll probably watch the first half.
And then read.
That's a good one. And with that, the show ends. That's
all right. Well, thanks for joining.
Safe travels.
Yep, I appreciate it. We'll catch up soon.
All right. Can't accept the loss, I'm hard-headed.
There's a little bit of madness to my method. Many falling off that fine line that I'm treading. I risk anything to be great, and I'm not letting nobody rob me of my victory. Number one, that's what I'm meant to be.